Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe. Hi, my name is Rob from robnonphoto.com, and today I'm going to be doing a review of this bad boy, the Canon Pixma MG5550 3-in-1 scanner, copier and printer, which I picked up a few weeks ago from I think I bought it from Argos actually, here in the UK. It's one of the big kind of the shops that's around. Yes, so very excited actually, because I haven't really been into printing for a long time, or printing at home. I mean, you may remember if you watched the podcast, listened to the podcast, or if you watched some of the videos, that I worked for Jessops a few years ago, before they went bust, and while I was there, obviously did plenty of printing, so we had the big machines. But at home we only really had a Epson inkjet printer that was probably about 6 years old, so it was well past its prime. You know, don't get me wrong, nothing against Epson printers. It did its job okay, but for the last couple of years it was really streaky. You would only kind of get one colour out of it. And Oliver's doing his exams, my son, at the moment, needs to print out lots of coursework and the like, and so I felt, you know, we need a decent printer. And of course, if there was an opportunity to get a new printer, there's an opportunity for me to get a nice photo printer as well. Now, you know, I'm on a budget, you know, I mean, I produce these videos really cheaply, and the podcast and everything. And so I was on a budget for, well, Suzanne said less than £100, and that kind of included any special paper I needed as well, and the like, sort of photo paper. So I was also pretty much set on getting a Canon printer. You know, I mean, I've got the Canon 600D that I'm recording this on now, and I'm a big fan of Canon stuff, and the printers especially, because again, while I was at Jessops, I think Canon printers were the only ones we sold, and so we actually set up a few of them and did some test prints from them, and I was always really impressed. Even with the cheapest Canon printers, I thought, you know, that was really the quality was almost as good as what we could get out of the big Fuji labs, so that was very, very good indeed. Also, I've got one of the little selfie printers. I don't know if you know the ones, the die sub printers, the ones that just do 6x4s. I've done a review of it. It's somewhere on the YouTube channel, and that was really good as well. That produced amazing prints. But with that one, again, it could only really print out photographs, 6x4 photographs, very small. Great little bit of kit. It uses different technology, but again, you know, we needed a printer that could not only print out photos for me, but also stuff for Oliver and Suzanne as well. I guess another thing that's kind of changed as well is the fact that I was always kind of a little bit anti the cost of printing at home, because I was kind of, you know, it's so expensive to print at home. You've got your inks, you've got your printer. The printers never last that long because the jets clog up, and the quality isn't as good as what you get if you send off for lab prints and things. But I kind of changed my mind a bit in the fact that you end up, or I ended up, not really sending many prints off to get printed out anyway, and I've kind of embraced the fact that part of photography, for me anyway, is making sure that you do have some hard copies of the stuff you do. It's very well having them on your computer, having them on a hard drive, having them on a backup, having them in the cloud and all this sort of stuff, but you can't really beat a nice photographic print that you can hand round, you can share to people, you can enjoy yourself, you know, put in a folder, put on the wall, give as a gift, all that sort of stuff. And so I kind of set my heart on the fact that, you know, I'm willing to spend the money on the printer and on the consumables, because obviously the consumables, things like printer inks and paper, after the first you know, 6 months, you're paying more for that sort of stuff than you did for the printer in the first place. So, you know, going off the fact that I only had like £100 to spend, and whatever I wanted to choose had to really be a Canon. I mean, though I was open to other stuff, I wanted to make sure it had good reviews for print quality, and was available as well, because I wanted to pick one up really quickly. So that was really from Argos or somewhere like Currys or PC World. And after going through and seeing what Argos and PC World had, and then checking the reviews on Amazon as well, I came to the kind of conclusion that the 5550 was a good bet. Now, I hadn't really considered a 3-in-1 printer before, something that has a scanner basically built into the top of it as well. I just thought that I'd just get a normal one. But I decided to go for it. I think I got it for about £80 from Argos. I got some Canon photo paper to go with it as well, photographic photo paper, A4 size, and I think I get 6x4s as well. And I got some plain paper and basically rushed home to set it up, and that was kind of the beginning of it. And that's kind of what you see now here. As you can see, it's quite a big unit. So what I'll do now is I'll just talk a little bit about the setup, and then we'll kind of go on. So as I was saying, you kind of rushed home, got out of the box. Very easy to set up as well. Comes with some nice instructions that basically lots of pictures of what you do for loading in the print cartridges. Basically with the unit, see if I can remember how to do it. The whole front kind of pops up like this, and the printer cartridges is, you probably might even be able to see them coming into view now. There they go. So there's the printer cartridges. You pop them in. All dead easy. It explains how to use all the paper trays and things like that. And then, a big plus for me is the fact that it's a wireless printer. And I was a little bit hesitant because I haven't used a wireless printer before, really done any wireless networking or anything, apart from the fact that we have, a few laptops in the house, and they all connect wirelessly to our Virgin Supermedia Hub 2, I think it's called. But it was really, really simple. All you've got to do is you follow the setup instructions, get the printer ready to go, and then it tells you on this little LCD screen on the front exactly what to do. And it basically says, right, go to your hub, go to your router, sorry, you press the button on the front of the router, you come back up to the printer, press a button on here, and it registers itself on the network. And then you just go around to all the different laptops or computers, you install the software, and from that point on, all the computers there on that network can print that printer. And I don't know, if you've had a wireless printer before and used it, you're probably going, oh, what's the big deal? But it pretty much, it really blew my mind. I was like, wow, how easy this is, because we were so used to just having an old computer that was in the corner, that was attached to the, excuse me, I think it's doing its self-cleaning routine or something. It was sitting in the corner, so if you wanted to print something out, you had to turn that computer on, turn the printer on, load it with paper, email the documents across to that computer, because I could never quite get it to work properly on the network, and it was always a real pain. Where with this one, you could, basically you can put the printer anywhere in the house where you want to, because it's wireless, as long as it's within range, and it's got quite a large footprint, as you can see. But when you're not using it, they're the paper trays, they fold up, and it can just kind of just sit there. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with it. I really like it as well. Now, this is the white version. I think there's a black version of it as well, it's been really good so far. So what I want to talk about next is I want to talk about the different functions that it does. I want to talk about printing first. Then I want to talk about and show how it does copying, and then I'll discuss scanning as well. So the first thing I'll probably talk about is, well, let's have a look at how it prints. Okay, so I've got some prints here that I printed out earlier, because as you can imagine, the printer's quite noisy, so I didn't really want to do any big prints while I was recording the video. But the first thing I'd like to say is the quality of the prints you get out of this machine are quite exceptional in my eyes. I really. Maybe it's because I'm not used to having a printer at home that can do sort of borderless A4 beautiful colour prints this big, yeah, it really, again, I don't like to use the term, blows my mind again, but the fact that you can produce this sort of thing at home is really pretty special. I mean, these are some big colour A4s, and we've got some 5x7s here, but it can handle anything from 6x4s. I think you can do envelopes, all sorts of things. But I'm an amateur photographer, so the main thing I'm interested in is obviously printing photographs. And trust me, the quality is more than good enough for a home printer, and rivals lots of the quality I used to get from Jessop's, from the big wet printing lab. So very, very good indeed. Quality is excellent. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you how we load the paper, and then I'll print out a kind of a normal document to give you an idea of the kind of the noise and the process involved. We've got some plain A4 paper here. So first thing to do, let's drop the front tray down, and then we pull that bit out, and then we can put our A4 paper in like so, and then we push the tray in, and then what there is underneath here, there's like a little bit that pops out to hold the paper, and then there's the other tray that comes down like that, and we're good to go. So I've got a document that I'm ready to print, so here we go. Let's do file, print, print, and let's see what happens. So now the laptop's talking to the printer via the wireless router and firing it over to me. Here we go. See, it's quite noisy, but this is just a simple, just a document from. It's actually one of the scripts I used for one of the videos. There we go. So bang, done. How easy is that? Really, really simple. Great quality, you know, for a home printer. Perfect for homework, coursework, business work, anything like that. Very, very good indeed. So full marks there. What we'll do next is we'll now print out a photo, and I've got some Canon, what have I got here? 6x4 paper. So let's grab a few sheets of that. And then what we do is let's just get that out of the way, get the plain paper out of the way. We won't need that for a little bit. And now what we'll do, pull that bit out, we push the paper in with the shiny side down, and then there's two kind of little adapters that you slide in. And make sure it's all in all the way. Push the tray back into position, click that down. Now I'm just going to go into Picasa. And now obviously one of the critical things when you're doing photo printing with sizes apart from A4 is making sure you crop your photo to the correct dimensions, which I just have done. And then let's say apply to that. Let's hit the print option. Now one thing you've got to make sure you do as well is go in, if you can hear me above the printer, is go in and just, whenever you're printing anything, just make sure that the setup is correct for let's have a look, print for what you're doing. So I've just loaded some 6x4, so I'm just going into the printer dialog now. I'm going to make sure it's asking for photo printing. It knows it's glossy paper, photo paper in there. I'm just going to change the size to 4x6, say OK. Now this is going to take longer than normal. I'm getting a bit low on ink as well, I might need to change it, but let's hopefully we'll get one print out of this. And there we go. So you know, it started doing it already, so you know it's pretty quick with the operation. Yep, it's clunking away. And as I've already said, you know, the print quality is really, really good. But let's talk a little bit about the times it can take to print out photos. So Canon says a 6x4 photo takes 45 seconds. Well, you know, let's see. I don't know if you could have always gone back and marked when we started. And I reckon an A4 probably takes, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, I think, depending on the file size and what you've done. But to be honest, at home, this isn't really an issue because again, this printer tends to lives in another room by itself in the spare room, and you know, you just start it off printing, or you load all the correct paper in it first, then you start it off printing. You know, you come back in and do it. So there we go. So there's a beautiful full colour 6x4 image of I think that was a church in Southsea. Amazing, borderless. You know, I mean, this is proper photo paper, but you probably can't see how shiny that is, but they really are fantastic. Really, really are fantastic. I love printing photographs. I haven't done it for so long. This is really, really good. So what we'll do next is we'll talk a little bit about price. Okay, so I know at the beginning I said one of the reasons why I bought the printer was to, you know, for Oliver for obviously do his homework and print stuff out, and for me and Suzanne to print stuff out as well. But one of the main reasons was to do this, you know, to print big photographs. 5x7s are nice, 6x4s are nice, but big prints like this is really, really good. When I was actually looking for the spec and the reviews on the 5550, I considered for a little bit going up to the next size, but if you jump up to sort of A3 size paper, which would be that size, which would be absolutely amazing, the price goes up quite a lot. Not only for the printers, well, I think it was about 180 quid you get the cheapest A3 size printer, but things like the paper suddenly becomes very, very expensive indeed. But don't let me fool you. There is a cost to these prints. So what I did was, based on the number of prints you can get that Canon says that you can get from the ink cartridges inside the 5550, the normal ones, I kind of upscaled that to work out how much it would cost roughly, approximately, per A4 print. Now, the first things first, if you were to buy a 20 pack of Canon photo paper glossy 2 nice printer paper, you get 20 sheets, and it's about a tenner no matter where you get it for. It's about £10, so straight away that means 50p a print. And and that doesn't even allow for the fact that you might print something out and it might not be quite right. The colours might be off, the contrast might be off. You might need to do some adjusting. So it's 50p to start off with. And the cheapest I could find the replacement colour cartridges for the printer was a multi-pack that was on offer at Amazon, which was 30 quid, which is really, really cheap. And so that included the cyan, the magenta and the yellow, and the photo black. Now there's a fourth cartridge, which is the pigment black, which I think is the one that you use when you're just doing ordinary printing. And so if we said probably the cheapest you could get the inks is about £40, you can get out of the colour cartridges, I reckon, about 30 A4 prints. Okay, based on upscaling what Canon says how many 6x4s you can get. And an A4 print, sorry, for this sort of size print for everybody who works in Imperial over in America and Canada and stuff, it's roughly about 8x11 inches. So you get roughly 30 A4 prints. Now the black cartridges do last longer, and so obviously there would be a crossover, and you might find you use some cartridges run out before, but obviously if you're buying, the cheapest way to buy the inks is in a multi-pack, so you're going to be buying them together. And so if you work out the fact that you could get 30 A4 prints out of a pack of inks, which is about £40 for everything, let's say so that means the cost for ink per A4 print, right, is about £1.33, which is about US $3. Now obviously the price comes down as you use the printer, because not all the cartridges run at the same time, and also you can buy Canon XL inks which have a higher capacity. I mean, you could risk it and you could buy non-Canon inks which are much, much cheaper, but I've heard dodgy things about, if you're after ultimate photo quality, which is the reason why we've bought this printer, I think you're going to stick with Canon inks, and you're probably better off just buying a second, cheaper printer that you'll chuck no-name inks in there, refilled ink cartridges, if you want to just do really, really cheap stuff, because you can sort of gum it up by putting non-proper cartridges in there. But I mean, if anybody's out there has had a different experience, let me know and I'll have a go. So, £1.80 per print. Now you might think, well, that's quite expensive, isn't it? Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, I did a little bit of research on the cost of A4 prints or 8x11s from online services in the UK, and if you went to Snapfish or Asda, a A4 print, sort of around about that sort of size, you're looking at between about £1 and £1.50. So if we're doing them at home for sort of £1.80 cheapest, then I don't think that's too bad, is it? We're kind of realising the fact that photo prints, when big photo prints are expensive. I mean, you can get 6x4s, get 6x4s 5p each, can't you? You know, from online printing services. So you could argue that there's no real point in printing those at home. But you know, okay, so it's another 30, maybe even another 50p a print, but it's instant. You've got it there, and you can do it. And I think it's amazing the fact that we can create prints of this quality at home, whenever we like from our own printer. So when it comes to prints, you know, I'm more than happy with the quality that comes out of the Canon MG5550. It's great for that, and so recommend it heartily if you want to print photos fairly cheaply at home, you know, cheaply in terms of the outlay of the printer. But you know, now let's have a look at some of the other features, and the next thing we'll look at is copying. Okay, so copying is probably one of the features of the 5550, because it's a 3-in-1, that I probably thought I wouldn't use at all, but actually has become incredibly useful until you've actually got a photocopy. I mean, obviously this is it's not like a photocopy. It does a similar sort of thing. It scans it, then prints it out with the inkjet technology. But it's amazing how many things you do need to copy at home. I mean, I used to take stuff into work, and we used to use our fax machine to copy things. But here, you know, it's so easy, and this kind of really, where these kind of standalone units really shine as well on the fact that it doesn't need to connect into a computer to do this. And basically, if you want to copy something, you just take your document, and it can do black and white or colour copies. Lift the top up, and that can kind of slide to do different thicknesses of stuff. And then you've got little marks that tells you where to line stuff up. So just put it on there, line it up, bring that down. And then on the front, we've got 3 options to start off with: copy, scan, or cloud. So we just want to copy something, so we press copy, and then all we've got to choose is, you know, there's certain things we can change, but basically you're probably going to be copying A4 stuff, aren't you? And we can either choose a black copy or a colour copy. So let's just do a black and white copy, and obviously it's going to scan it first, which it's doing now, and then here it comes. At this point, I could put another document in, because it's done the scan process, and it's going to start doing the print process in just a sec, if I close the drawer properly. Oh dear, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it? And then press OK. So it would have been a lot quicker, but I forgot to push the tray back in. So here it comes. And that's just our normal sort of copy. You know, you're copying a letter, maybe some official documents or something like that. You know, perfect copy, very nice, very easy. Now, as I said before, it can scan and do colour copies as well. There's another black and white copy I did of the cover of the book yesterday. Here's a colour copy. Obviously, I didn't want to do too many colour copies because it chews through ink, and this is just on plain paper. It looks fine. It's usable for work, for homework use. I mean, that's not a I don't know, I mean, maybe I should have given it a go, done a photocopy, a colour photocopy onto photo paper to really see, but you know, 50p a pop. But you know, if you're going to photocopy something, you're probably just going to want that quality. It's fine, and it's good enough. So one of the features there of the 5550 that I wouldn't think I would use, but actually is incredibly useful. I was just doing some work actually on today. I needed to photocopy some bits and bobs, put them in, photocopy it, and job done. So that is really good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is scanning. Now, of all the features of the Canon Pixma MG5550 that it can do, scanning is probably the one that I've had the most. Not really. I guess, yeah, you could use the word trouble. It's been a little bit tricky. Now, it does make great scans of documents or photographs, very high resolution. I think it's something like 300 dpi. Look into the specs. Go to canon.co.uk or canon.com if you want the specs, but it does fine scans of photos. There's no negative carrier though, so you can't scan negatives, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, I've got some old scanners hanging around that I can probably take apart where they've got carriers in, or I can make, there's plenty of sites online that show you how to make a DIY negative carrier that you can then have a light that shines on the top. But if the worst comes to the worst, I have got my old, Epson perfect photo scanner up, the flatbed scanner that I've got in the loft, so I can dig that around. But anyway, get back on track. So the idea with this sort of standalone device is that you could stick a photo in there or a document, you know, whatever. It will scan to pictures, it will scan to JPEGs. I think there's optical character recognition, all sorts of stuff with the software you can do. And then you would choose the scan button, and then it will fire it off to a PC that's in the local area network. Unfortunately, and this is probably me, I haven't figured out how to change the computer that the scanner sends it to. So whenever I scan a photo like this from the control panel of the 5550, it ends up popping up on Suzanne's PC. And normally when she's doing something, she's like, well, what's going on here? Where's this come from? So the way that I scan anything so far is that I do it from each individual laptop, and the software that comes with the Canon, there's you install all the utilities. There's one called the Canon IJ Scan Utility. I guess that's Inkjet Scan Utility, and basically you just fire that up and you say, right, scan a photo or scan a document, and you can go into detail about what it is. It scans it and then it saves it to your local hard drive on your laptop. And then it opens up Canon's image garden where you can play around with it should you wish, and you go in and change something, and that works fine. I'm sure better people than me that are more IT literate will be able to figure out how to change it, and if I do, I'll do an update video, or if you know how to make it change, which computer it sends scans to, then put a note in the comments on YouTube. You know, but it really does it does nice scans. What can I say? We've scanned some old 35mm film prints, just pop them in and it does them to nice enough quality. Anything else, all sorts of other prints, you know, it scans them at a high enough quality where you can get in and you can see the grain of the photo. So that's good enough for me from this sort of device. So very, very good indeed. So we kind of talked about the sort of three things. I've shown you prints, photo prints and normal prints. We've looked at copying, and we've talked a little bit about scanning. I'm not going to physically do any scanning now. It's got the Pixma 5550 has plenty of other features as well. You can set it up to print from mobile devices like your phone or the cloud. It's got a quiet mode, which maybe I should have used while I was doing it on the video. You can do two-sided printing. As I said before, you can buy extra large ink cartridges to save your money, and or get those value packs of ink cartridges as well. I guess, you know, what is, I'm really glad I've got this printer. It's got me making big prints again, you know, and there's something, your photography almost becomes real when you can hold a nice print in your hand, and also you sort of see things that you wouldn't have seen normally. You look at something and think, oh, what about, oh, I didn't quite get that right, did I? Why is that blown out? Or maybe I need a bit more contrast as well. And I have to say that the printer and the software does look after you. It likes to print a nice photo. I'm sure there's a lot more advanced printers out there where people can do lots of other things, but this does seem to, despite my, you know, some of my cat-candid efforts at taking photos and post-processing, it does print them out very, very nice indeed. I've been printing out lots of photos. It's inspired me and my photography. Suzanne's been printing out lots of photos as well to share at work and, you know, with the kids and everything. And it's kind of brought back our old digital photos that have kind of been languishing on the cloud and on the web back to life a bit. So nothing like printing out a few and then passing them around and looking at them. I never considered a 3-in-1 printer before, but I'm glad I got it, because things like the copying was coming very, very handy. It would be nice if it was a bit smaller, because it's a very big unit, and it would be great if there were separate trays for different sizes of paper. So maybe you could always have some A4 plain paper in there and some photo paper, maybe something like that. It'd be nice if it had a negative carry as well. But I guess, you know, for £80, there's got to be some compromise somewhere, hasn't there? And, you know, and I'll say it again, you know, the print quality is great, you know, which is the main reason why, part of the fact that Oliver needed it to do his homework, why I really wanted to go with it. So, to be honest, I don't think you could really go far wrong with it. You know, if you're on a fairly restricted budget like myself, but, you know, you want to make sure that you get a printer that uses multiple ink cartridges so that you can reduce kind of a little bit of the cost of printing. You can't go far wrong with the Canon Pixma MG5550. It prints out great photographs, it's easy to use, it's easy to set up, and yeah, I'm really pleased I got it. Okay, so my name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Remember, you can email me scalestudio@gmail.com with any questions, and thanks for watching.